Hello, America, and welcome to the Glenn Beck program and to The Blaze. This is the network that you are building. Scary stuff on the table. This is a program that I guarantee my entire staff in New York is watching today, and all of them are sweating just a little bit. They're like, there it comes. Yes, we live in Texas for a reason. These are real firearms, something that we've never, ever been allowed to have on any of our sets before because they're just too scary. But tonight we're going to talk common sense. First, let's get to some breaking news today. There was another school shooting today. This time at the Lone Star College campus. It's in Houston, Texas. The college says the situation is under control. The incident happened during an altercation between two students that got out of control. Total of three people were shot. How are we going to solve this? If you are somebody who allows blindfolded fear to rule over reason, then tonight is definitely not the show for you. It is definitely not the show tonight for anybody in the administration and about 98% of those in the media. This show tonight is going to anger a lot of people, both on the left and the right, because tonight we're going to show these to these. Kids. Children. Yes. Kids and guns? What crazy maniac does that? People with common sense and reason over fear. People are freaking out at the NRA's suggestion about putting more armed guards in school. They argue that it will frighten the kids. Okay. First of all, if you're living in a place where you need to have armed guards in the school, at least me, I was never afraid of a cop. Never. I knew the cop was there to provide safety for us. I was never afraid of the gun that the cop was holding. What child? Think back to your own childhood. What child is afraid of a gun on the side of a cop? That doesn't even make sense. It shouldn't frighten them. It should make them feel safe. But I'm not here to defend the NRA because I don't think that putting cops in schools, it is one answer, and it is a better answer than anything else I've heard. But it is not the final solution to the problem with guns. The solution is not armed guards. The problem and the solution lies within each one of us and our culture. Tonight we do focus on guns and fear and reason. We have trained children and a whole generation, and maybe two generations now, to be afraid of everything on this table without providing any understanding or any knowledge whatsoever. For instance, if I say to you, this is the gun that is exactly like the gun my grandfather used to have, and we would go hunting. We would walk the back of his berry field, and I'll never forget, it was always loaded, and he had it cracked open just like this, and we'd walk, and pheasant would fly up, and he would shoot it. Now, which one is more dangerous, my grandfather's gun or this one with a pistol grip? Which one? Which one belongs to a killer, and which one belongs to a hunter? The answer, I'll give it to you here in just a minute, along with this one. This looks like a kid's gun. Which one is more powerful? Which one? I can't believe I'm holding the big back scary gun over here. Which one? I'll give you the answer in a minute. And it's more than just, oh, all guns are dangerous, all guns will do damage. No. Which one is worse? Let me tell you what's happening in our society. A 5-year-old girl in Pennsylvania waiting for a school bus with friends. The kids were being kids. They were laughing, they were teasing, and that's when the unthinkable happened. A little 5-year-old girl said she was going to shoot her friend. ... with this. Her pink Hello Kitty toy gun. Now I want to, I better not point it directly at you. It blows soapy bubbles. It's a Hello Kitty's soapy bubble gum. And it doesn't even, we bought 3 of them, we can't get any of them to work. A school official happened to be walking by and overheard the threat. They searched the bags of the kids. Didn't have that scary weapon with her, but the official still turned her in. And the least terroristic human being possible, a 5-year-old girl at a bus stop, was charged with making a terroristic threat and suspended for 10 days because of this. But that's not all. The next day, the girls involved were interrogated by more school officials without the parents being present. An episode that has left them in tears. How do you think these kids are going to feel about guns? How do you think they're going to feel? Then the teacher made an example of this child in front of the class and said, "Yes, kids, yes, it was fully loaded with soapy bubbles." And now the police, quoting, "the police may have to get involved." When a 5-year-old is talking to another 5-year-old about Hello Kitty soap bubble gun smack, and the book is thrown at them, you know this country's completely out of control. Especially when this is dangerous, but this, however, is not. All the video games. Let your kid play it. No big deal. It's just a game. Just a game. What is this? What is this? Nobody says anything about this, but this will get you suspended. How about this? Nobody says anything about the movies. No, it's just a movie. My kids know the difference. Do they? Common sense, I'd like to say, is dead, and now we're just desecrating the grave. But it's more than that. Let me go to Maryland. 2 6-year-old boys suspended, 6 years old, because they were playing cops and robbers. They were playing it during recess at school, and they were using the gun that God gave them, their fingers. It's not loaded, that's why it didn't go off. Why wouldn't a kid be deathly afraid of anything about a gun when you can get suspended for this or this? You can't play with this, and you can't play cops and robbers without being treated literally like a terrorist. I'm sorry, worse than a terrorist, because we don't do anything about our terrorists in this country anymore. These are ordinary kids doing ordinary things, everything that we ever did. But now, because of the severity of their punishments, they will carry the label of a problem child for their whole life. And they will have an irrational fear of guns that has no underpinning at all in logic or reason. Now, I used to think, political correctness gone wild, or how can this administration, or how can this, school district be so ignorant or so foolish? It's not foolish, it's not ignorance. It is indoctrination, and it is by design. Remember, the left has a grip on the education system. All the things you used to think was crazy that they would possibly be teaching your kid, they're doing. Why do you think reasonable people that are teachers, they're college educated, why do you think they're doing this? To make your kids afraid of the mere idea of a gun. We're growing a whole new generation of kids that will grow up and, they hope, instinctively will say, I don't want anything to do with that table. We're looking at the tools. We're not looking at the craftsman. Guns are not the problem. They are just the screwdriver, the hammer, the tool that people can use to build a house or take that hammer and beat somebody's head in with. We don't ban hammers. But that's the progressive MO. They don't believe that you're capable of governing yourself, and so they seek to make society better by controlling and solving everything for you. Obesity, you're fat. I know. Ban trans fats. Ban soda. You can only have soda about that much. Make kids eat carrots only. You're raising a bunch of dopes that are mindless, and they depend on you. I don't want to raise my kids to be like that. I don't want my kids, when my kids are 18, out of the house. I'm not raising kids to be dopes. I want them to be independent, make up their own mind. Energy, the environment, drive up the price of gasoline, drive up the price of oil, so you won't use any more of it. Taxes. What are taxes for, really? Well, taxes are because they don't believe that you can spend things so wisely. Remember, it's the progressive income tax. They're all about redistribution of wealth. They think they can decide how to spend your money. So they take more money away from you and they spend it because they're smarter. Guns, take them away so fewer people will be shot. And what? Killed with hammers? Knives? What? So we're all sitting ducks? Do you know that there are more gang members in this country right now, more gang members than there are members of our standing military? A lot more. Why would you disarm people? Because people want to make technology, they want to make guns, they want to make the thing bad. It's just like fire. Fire. Fire is bad, right? Fire burns houses down. People die in fire. I remember the fireman came to our house or to our school, and he gave this scary thing about how we had to have an escape plan from our house, and the house could catch fire, and it was really, I didn't sleep for a month because the fireman came and scared me about fire. Well, is fire bad? Well, if I would have taken that experience, yes, fire was bad, and if I would have had the mind of the 8-year-old that I was, I would say ban fire. But that gave me a really good understanding of fire. I'm a boy, and I don't know about any other boys when you were growing up, but we used to play with matches. Boys are strangely fascinated with fire, really bad. Good to scare the snot out of your kids on fire just a little bit, but not so much that they're like, I don't want fire anywhere, because then I'd have to have the conversation with them. Oh, well, fire is in the furnace downstairs. It heats our home. Fire is on the stove, underneath the pot. It cooks our food. It can light your way in the dark. Fire is not bad. It's what you do with fire. It's whether that fire is your master or you are the master of it. Some of my best memories are, and it's not going to come as a surprise, sitting around a campfire roasting marshmallows over fire. Fire is not the problem. Do you control it or does it control you? Does the fear of guns, do you control it or does it control you? If you're alarmed by kids playing cops and robbers, if you equate Hello Kitty soap bubble guns with terrorism, then you're out of control and your fear controls you. And you're trying to shield and control everything in your life. And as a recovering alcoholic, that ain't gonna work, Jack. Let me tell you a story of a woman in Georgia. She used a gun and she controlled it. Her name is Melinda Herman. She was at home with her 2 9-year-old children when somebody broke into their home. She grabbed the kids and she fled to the attic. She got on the phone with her husband and he called 911. He could only helplessly listen as the intruder came into the attic wielding a crowbar. Good thing is, she had a revolver. She shot him 5 times with her .38. Remember, this week, New York said, you never need more than 6 or 7 bullets. Really? She shot him with 5. The suspect still managed to flee the scene and drive away. This situation worked out with 5 bullets, but what happened if there were multiple intruders? Would 5 or 6 shots be enough? I'm going to show you some amazing things tonight. We're going to go on the basics. And we have some really good guests with you, and are with us, and to show you some things. But I hope that this will be the beginning. If you were somebody, you don't have to own a gun, but you have to understand what a gun is. And I hope this is the beginning of something that might change your life or your point of view or your friend's point of view. My life was changed by one single line from Thomas Jefferson. I'm going to give you the actual quote from Thomas Jefferson behind me, but I've butchered it my whole life, and this is the way I remember it. As I pondered it over and over and over again, it was about religion, and it was something that he wrote to his nephew, Peter Carr. And he said, fix reason firmly in her seat, and call to her every tribunal, every fact, every opinion, and question with boldness even the very existence of God. For if there be a God, he must surely rather honest questioning over blindfolded fear, or something like that. That changed my life, because that is reasonable. if there is a God, he must surely rather honest questioning over you being afraid. Let's do some honest questioning on guns tonight. Oh, and by the way, that line comes from his letter with Peter Carr. 15-year-old nephew. Carr's parents died. Thomas Jefferson assumes responsibility of educating him, and he would write him lengthy letters explaining his thoughts and advice on life and other things. And religion was one of them. But a lesser-known line also came in another letter to Peter Carr from Thomas Jefferson. He was giving his nephew advice about the best exercise at the time, and there's a reason I never saw that one. Not interested. But look what Thomas Jefferson writes. He writes, "A strong body makes the mind strong. As to the species of exercise, I advise the gun." What? "While this gives a moderate exercise to the body, it gives boldness, enterprise, and independence to the mind. That is why the Second Amendment is there, to give independence to the mind. You are your master. You're the master of your life, nobody else." He goes on to say that games played with a ball and others of that nature are too violent, I love this, too violent for the body, and they stamp no character on your mind. Let your gun, therefore, be a constant companion of your walks. I contend you'd be put in jail if you exercised that advice to a 15-year-old and you said, "Hey, you know what you should do is get yourself a gun." That mentality is what the left deems progress. To me, it is the problem. Tonight, we do what was once common sense and a perfectly normal thing here in America, not centuries ago, but just a few years ago, and is still common sense in places like Switzerland. Educate our youth on guns. We're going to talk to the maker of the AR-15. We're going to introduce you to the fastest gun in the West, and most importantly, we'll take on the demonstration of guns, the fear-mongering. The fear-mongering has got to stop. We have to take fear and convert it into knowledge, understanding, and real progress towards a safer world. This is the gun show you're not going to get anywhere else but the Blaze. Reason over fear. With me now is David Barton.
Hey, man.
He is the, I don't even need to, I need to introduce the president, founder of Wall Builders, and Paul Michael. He is the owner and instructor at Strictly Defense, which is an arms training school. How are you, sir?
Pleased to meet you.
Good to see you.
Same here.
Okay, so let's start here. Which one is, what's the difference between these two guns? Because this is an assault rifle, and this is a .22.
They're both the same caliber. They both can do the same damage.
Right.
One just looks different than the other.
David, how many bullets does this hold?
17.
This holds 17 bullets. This is a high magazine, a high capacity magazine.
Holds 20.
Holds 20. Ooh.
Scary.
I contend that on this table, in fact, take the jib up, will you, and look at the table from the down. If this table was shown and I took all the wood stocks and I took the revolvers here and anything with a wood stock off of the table, Bloomberg would say, this came out of one man's safe and it's the safe of a madman. Mm-hmm. However, and people would agree with him. However, if I put the wood stocks down and I took away the spooky black shotgun and replaced it with this nice shotgun, people would say, oh, well, he's a hunter.
Right.
What's the difference between this shotgun and this shotgun?
Cosmetics. They're the identical shotgun. They're both Remington 1100s. The only difference is this has got a synthetic stock and just got an extended barrel and an extended magazine tube.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Same gun. It's just
different cosmetics.
But this is a hunter's. My grandfather had a gun like this. Why do you need to have it spooky black? You obviously intend on taking some house at night.
That's the glare. Hunters don't like the fact that when they go out, if the sun's reflecting or anything else, the glare can be picked up by an animal. So they went with a matte finish.
Okay.
It just works out better.
Okay. So real quick, David, these two guns, I have both of. I don't have this. I have this gun and I have a assault shotgun at home. I contend, and so do you, this is more dangerous.
I'll take this over that every time.
Right.
If I'm in a duel, I'll take this over. Because this, I'm accurate with. That, you start pumping and it just sprays everywhere.
This is
I can do more damage with this than most gang members can do with that.
Quite honestly, would be something I would give to my wife and say, if things ever got bad and you were freaking out in the middle of the night, because she'd freak out and she's not going to put it up to her shoulder.
That's
she's not necessarily.
That's right.
Just pump and shoot and get out of the house,
Yeah,
right?
Right. Make noise, and actually the pump sound is what scares a robber more than.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go through some of these. Clip and magazine. Let's just hit the really important ones. Clip and magazine. Go over what the difference is on all this.
It's really basic. In the military, we learned that the easiest way to understand something is if it has a spring in it, it's a magazine. If it was like this here is what we call a speed clip. It's actually used for the AR-15. We could actually rapid load just by pushing down on this clip. But the way I remember it the most was my instructor told me that the clip loads a magazine loads the firearm.
Got it. Okay.
So it was real simple to use.
All right. Now, revolver and semi-automatic, and I think this is really key because people who aren't around guns anymore, they'll say this is a semi-automatic. And these are very dangerous guns because they're semi-automatic, which makes you think that it's like a machine gun.
Right.
Explain the difference between these two guns.
All right, well, this one here is a Ruger New Blackhawk. It's actually a revolver. It's mechanical. What happens here is when you cock the hammer, it actually rotates the cylinder so that you can actually fire the pistol. The semi-automatic, the difference comes in is how, thank you, the gas pressure from the cartridge actually propels the bullet down the barrel. The gas extracts the spent casing and then goes ahead and reloads the firing mechanism and then sets it to fire again. So it's done semi-automatically using the gas pressure from your cartridge.
So here's what I think the real difference is. If you watch me, may I just maybe just blank fire this?
Sure.
The difference is, to me, that nobody understands. When I fire this, I have to, you have to pull this back. You hear the clicks? You have to pull this all the way back to be able to fire it. Boom. You have to do that. But David, you can, as we'll see later on the show, you can do that really quickly. The only difference is that this does it for you. Once you shoot, it cocks the hammer. So the only difference between these two, really, for the people in the press, is semi-automatic means it does this for you. That's it.
And we're going to see there's people who can shoot that a lot faster than most people can shoot that semi-automatic.
Okay. Do we have time? We got to wrap up? Okay, we'll come back in just a second. We want to finish a couple of other things, and then we're going to introduce you to the kids and then some of the fastest guns around. Stand by.
We're going to interrupt programming. We've been telling you this morning there has been a shooting at a school in Newtown. This is the Sandy Hook Elementary School.
The FBI has responded along with state police as they lock down that school.
Are dead. 27 people at the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting.
A number of residents have been inundated with hateful messages, crank calls by people who believe they are part of a government and media conspiracy surrounding the shooting.
All right, let's go back to bullet versus cartridge. What's the difference?
Well, it's real simple. What you have here is you have four components that actually make up a cartridge. You have the casing, you have the bullet, you have a primer, and you have powder, well, what we call propellant. Without those four, you have nothing. What it is most people will come in and ask for the bullet, and that's what this piece is. So once you put your primer, which is your ignition, which actually sparks, burns the powder, builds gas, propels the bullet down the barrel, that action in itself causes a semi-automatic to extract the empty casing, which is this, recycles the action, loads the next cartridge, and sets the gun to refire.
Okay, so if I went into a store and like, give me a bunch of bullets, if you were going to be accurate, you'd hand me a bunch of these, which are absolutely worthless. This is just what goes into the body of the deer or the body of the human.
That's it.
Right? Okay. Now, this is, I think, so important. The difference between an assault rifle and a rifle.
Well, during the Brady bill, when it first came out, they looked at the AR-15s, and they said they had to have 3 of the 5 components. And what they were talking about is you had to have telescoping stock, pistol grip.
Okay, why the telescoping? Why is that so? My wife will shoot mine. She wants it in a little closer. I want it a little farther. What is the problem with that?
To me, there isn't one because length of pull is actually very comfortable to a shooter.
Right.
Having the right length of pull is nice.
Okay.
but that was one of the reasons. They had a pistol grip, a high-capacity magazine. You also had to have a bayonet lug and a flash hider. You had to have 3 of those 5s, and they considered it an assault rifle.
Okay. Give me the reason.
Same caliber as all these other
Same caliber of the other ones.
Right.
I mean, it's just.
Give me the reason why you would have the. I can tell you this, because I like it. I like it longer than my wife does. Tell me the reason why a hunter would want a pistol grip, would want the flash suppressor. Why?
Well, the flash hider just keeps the muzzle flash down a little bit. The pistol grip actually offers more control to the shooter, because it's almost like shooting a handgun, and it actually allows them to get it up in the shoulder and hold it into place.
Okay.
So the recoil is less. If you let the gap out here, and when it recoils, it really jerks. But this keeps it into the shoulder very well.
Okay. And really, quite honestly, the difference would take camera 2 here. The difference between an assault rifle and an assault gun, an assault weapon, and just a gun is really this. This is the Hello Kitty. This is the assault bubble weapon. The only difference is the sticker and the paint. That's pretty much it. Okay, let's go over to the kids.
Sure.
And how many of you guys have experience with guns? How many of you guys have fired guns? Okay, it's okay. Are you afraid of guns?
No, I don't shoot guns.
You just don't shoot guns. Okay. Let's take it through a basic safety.
Basic safety. First thing on firearm safety is always having the proper safety gear. So you all have eyeglasses, so let's go ahead and put those on. We're not going to put headsets on because we're shooting airsoft and it's not going to be as loud. But a couple things you always want to remember is nothing takes the place of proper training. Learning how to use something removes the fear. So a couple things on safety is rule number 1. Even if you're not sure if it's a real gun or not, don't touch it. Ask for someone to help you. Rule number 2, always keep the muzzle, which is this piece here, pointed in a safe general direction. Rule number 3, keeping your finger off the trigger until you've made the decision to shoot. Once the decision has been made that you're going to shoot, you want to bring the gun up, put it on target, and once you're on target, then you take the safety off, and then you fire.
Okay, this is, why don't you come over here, because we have a hard time with light. Leave the gun there, right. And you come over here so we can see you too. This is an airsoft gun. Anybody played airsoft before? Anybody shot airsoft? Okay. So this airsoft, Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman was telling me just the other day, better than anything else, better than video games, because there's a consequence. This hurts. It's not going to kill you, but if I shoot you with an airsoft gun, it's going to.
You've been knowing you're hit.
Yeah, it'll leave a welt on you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So go ahead.
Well, with that, the idea is that let's go ahead and we'll do one at a time. David, if you want to give me a hand here,
yes, sir.
And Tim, if you would. All right. This is a pump action airsoft. What I want you to do is get it up in your shoulder. Okay, we're going to bring it up here. Get it tight in your shoulder. I want you to pull the pump handle back real hard and then back forward. Perfect. Now, let's get your finger up and keep it off the trigger. What I want you to do is put your cheek on the cheek piece here. We're going to take the safety. I want you to take up with your thumb and pull the safety straight back. Get lined up. Let's bring this here and put this little front sight right in the middle of that box. Lean in a little bit and then press. Press the trigger for me. A little high, but that's okay. Now the next thing you want to do before you do anything else is put your safety back on and then set it straight down. That way the gun's in a safe position.
One of the things I learned in one of my first gun safety courses, and I think it's so important, and you taught it, keep your finger out of the trigger and always pick up a gun. You always carry a gun like this, and I thought it was so great. Marcus Latrelli taught me this too, that everybody knows how to point.
That's right.
Point and shoot. You know how to point, and then just until when you're ready, that's when you put your finger in.
People don't realize that when you're nervous and stressed, your muscles tend to constrict. If your finger is on that trigger, there's a high probability that you're going to shoot before you're even ready. That means whatever's in front of that muzzle is going to get hit. All right, let's move on over. Go ahead and pick up your airsoft. Shoulder it. Okay. Safety's on. Get it up in your shoulder. Go ahead and pull the pump action back real hard, back and forth. Now what you do is put your cheek on the cheek well here. We're going to take the safety off, reach up with your thumb, pull the safety back, finger off the trigger till you're ready, and then look down, put that right there in the middle of the box, and then press the trigger. Just hit the box. Okay, safety back on, finger indexed. Very good.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and you guys keep shooting, work with all the kids, and we're going to take a quick break and come back. By the way, this is David Barton's son Tim right here. I don't think we've ever introduced him. He's been here for almost every show. Back in just a minute. The left says over and over again that we need to ban the AR, the automatic, semi-automatic, or the spooky black ones because they're assault rifles. They look different, but there really aren't any difference in the way they shoot really compared to other guns. Here to explain is a guy who what he has done his whole life is now just being demonized like nobody's business. His name is Randy Luth. He is the founder and former president of DPMS Panther Arms. This is one of the top 2 AR manufacturing companies in the world. How are you, sir?
Good, Glenn. Glad to be here.
Thank you for everything that your gun has done.
Well, thank you.
My theory is that this looks like something that we see in the movies that our SEAL team uses, and so no hunter could ever use it. Why would hunters ever want that gun?
Well, actually, I think DPMS, we were pretty instrumental in introducing hunting with ARs about 10, 12 years ago when we came out with our first 308. That polar bear over there, I took an AR-15 into Alaska on a big game hunt and shot a grizzly bear with an AR-15, modern sporting rifle, in .338 caliber. So they can be used for hunting, they are used for hunting, and it's one of the fastest segments of rifles being used for hunting.
I have to tell you, I have this gun, and I don't hunt, but I shoot.
Sure.
I go to the range and I shoot.
Sure.
And quite honestly, I don't know what this one feels like. Yeah, this one's not too bad, but these are lighter.
Sure, these are more of a carbine version, but what we have here, we have 2 modular sporting rifles, or 2 AR-15s. The media portrays these 2 as assault rifles. An assault rifle is full automatic. These are semi-automatic.
Right. When did we go from machine gun to automatic? Everybody knows what a machine gun is, but semi-automatic and automatic, now all of a sudden, now you've blurred the lines.
That's right.
And we don't even use, nobody calls it a machine gun. Why don't we use machine gun?
Because it's not a machine gun. These are semi-automatics. All of these.
But if I said this is fully automatic, it's a machine gun, is it not?
Correct.
So why did we change, who changed it from machine gun to automatic weapon?
The media.
Yeah.
It first happened in Scotland during that first school shooting back, I don't know.
No other country has them except ours.
But there was a semi-automatic handgun that was used in a horrific crime. And the media called it.
We've used the term a lot, but semi-automatic means you got to pull the trigger every time a bullet comes out.
It's not a machine gun.
Automatic means hold the trigger and it keeps spraying out bullets.
And like the revolver, it means if it's not semi-automatic, it means you just pull the trigger farther.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're still pulling the trigger every time, just farther.
It's the same thing.
Right. Okay.
And typically the media is misinformed because they assume that a semi-automatic is a full automatic, where you pull it nonstop and the bullets come out nonstop. That's the biggest misnomer that we see and hear in the media, which is frustrating.
Okay, so tell me the one thing that you would love for America to know or spread. What is it that you are like screaming at your TV and you're like, would somebody please just say this?
These 4 weapons, these 4 rifles here, call them modular, call them modern, call them semi-automatics, they are not assault rifles.
Yeah.
And the media needs to get educated and not to portray these AR-15s as an evil weapon or an evil rifle. They're not that.
They'll tell you that that's an assault rifle because only a military person would need this gun. No. For instance, in New York, they just said 7 rounds. No hunter needs more than 7 rounds. I'm sorry, did I hear you say you were with a grizzly bear? You feel comfortable with just having 7 rounds?
People will indicate that you just need, if you're a good shot, you need 1 or 2 rounds. When you have a grizzly bear who's hasn't eaten in a few months, and he's just come out of the den, he's looking for anything to eat. It took myself at least 4, I might have missed 1 out of the 5 shots, but had I been using a bolt action rifle, I would have gotten 1 shot off.
You'd be dead.
And
well, I'll tell you, having hunted because this is called a ranch model, and that's AR-15, but we use them both for hunting predators at night. I've been attacked by mountain lions, 2 mountain lions, and we put 25 shots into 2 mountain lions. We didn't hit all the shots because they were coming at us.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you need more than seven rounds. 2 mountain lions coming at you will
Did we ever find that? Did we ever find that?
We've got the footage on that lion and the pig. Here. See this lion?
This is a lion. This will freak you out.
Look at this lion.
Marcus Luttrell said to me, "You got to come lion hunting with me." And I said, "Are you out of your mind? Look at how many people are shooting. They're shooting at this lion. They put several bullets in it. He goes, he's wounded. He goes away. Yeah, and at one point, look at that. At one point, he comes back, or it might be another video, he comes back and all the guys are shooting. The last shot is put into the lion as he's in the air, ready to maul the guy to death. Yep. You don't know how many bullets you need. The more the merrier for human life.
Well, absolutely. We've got another one, too, of a pig attack. And that's common in Texas.
Right. This is important because most people say, well, then don't go lion hunting. I got it.
Yeah.
But if you live in Texas, pigs.
You see this? Look at this.
Watch this. This is a pig. Look at the size of that pig. And pigs are a nuisance. There's pig hunting.
Oh, they destroy our ranch. But when pigs get moving in herds, it takes 20, 25, 30 shots to even have a chance to get them.
Okay, this guy is shooting. He shoots him several times and finally gets him. In the end, he wins, not the pig.
One other thing, Glenn, people need to realize that back in 1905, Winchester had a semi-automatic deer hunting rifle with a 10-round box magazine. So this is all, it's not new. This has been around forever.
Yeah. It's the progressive spin that is relatively new. Back in a minute. Thank you. We've been on this road together for quite some time. We've paved it with flashes of greatness, celebrations of freedom, and the promise for a better future. Our passion drives us. But now, it's time to chart a new course. With clear minds and a strong foundation, our moral compass is pointing toward a new vision. Be strong and courageous. Don't be frightened. Don't be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. The next phase of our journey begins here. The American dream.
So you want to shoot fast, huh? I'm finally waking up today. A lot of people ask me, well, how do I get to the next level? Well, you get to the next level by being the first one on the range and the last one to leave.
I cannot wait. We're doing something in the studio here, but we're going to take these guys out to a range. That was Jerry Michalik. He is the world's fastest revolver shooter. He's here with his wife, Kay. She is the #1 female shooting instructor and competitor in the country. And their 17-year-old daughter, Lena, is the ladies' world action shotgun champion. This is a house you don't want to break into. They are the most famous gun family in America. It is an honor to have you guys here. Now, what I want to do is, because we're in the studio so we can't actually fire any rounds, we just want to show that David and I were talking about that this arbitrary number of 7 shots is ridiculous. It's just that. It's arbitrary number.
Here's a semi-automatic. That's what they're all scared of. You carry this into a school, you go into a whole bunch of these, and man, you could... Jerry can take a revolver, which they're not trying to regulate. He can take that revolver, he can shoot it, he can reload it, he can shoot it again faster than I can go through a semi-automatic.
Can anybody do this, Jerry, with enough practice? I mean, generally not do what you do, but be fast.
With a little coaching, yes. There's many competitions where you see enthusiasts like us who do this regularly. This is what we do. So.
All right. So go ahead. Where do we start? Who are we going to see first?
I think Lena's going to lead off with her shotgun.
Yeah. So I'm just going to start off by showing you, I'm a 3-gun competitive shooter and also the shotgun world champion right now. The bad thing about a shotgun is it's always empty. So you have to be able to load it fast. So there's different techniques. There's strong hand. There's weak hand.
That is 8 shots she just put in.
That's 8 shells that I just put in my gun. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing because I'm like, ow, ow, every time I'm loading.
And then we have a new style of loading. So you're on target, flip it over, grab 2 at a time.
So 2 at a time.
You're
That's
back
8.
up on target. So that was 8 shells I just
cow.
loaded.
That's 8.
Holy cow.
So just to show you with practice, anything is possible. It doesn't really matter if they're not banning my gun. So I can load 8 shells.
Yet.
I can load, this gun for me holds 11 rounds. So I can load that probably in around 7 seconds. I can get it fully loaded.
Okay. All right. So
You made that look pretty good.
you did. And I have to tell you, I mean, I always feel like a girl, but I feel like the biggest girl right now. Because when I load guns, the worst part of a semi-automatic is loading them.
Yes.
And it's like, every time I'm like,
that
ow,
part right there is the toughest. Even with speed loader, it's still, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what you can do.
What I'm going to show you, Glenn, is some revolvers, and this is what I shoot in competition. This is actually an 8-shot, 38 Special 357 Magnum revolver. So some of the competitions we go to, I would use equipment similar to this. It's pretty regulated for me what equipment I use by what power factor is imposed on the shooter or the competitor at the time. So in some of the speed matches, I'll shoot just the 8-shot revolver. I've got my timer here set on 1.5 seconds par. So when you hear the timer take off, the timer starts running and it's going to beep again in about 1.5 seconds. So
you have to, what are you going to do?
I'm just going to draw.
Draw?
Yeah, play around a little bit. So
all right, go ahead.
Let's see what we can do in 1.5 seconds. So that was 6 rounds.
Holy
with
cow.
reaction time.
And that's a
second and a half.
And that's
and that's not bad.
That beats this, brother.
Yeah.
That beats that.
So let's go ahead and do an actual reload attempt here. Let's put it on about 4.5 seconds.
So you're going to draw.
Yeah.
You'll shoot 4. Yeah. You'll shoot 6 rounds.
Right.
And then reload.
And do a reload. So one of the things it's interesting about this package is that the revolver uses a moon clip.
Okay.
So the whole clip goes in the gun.
All right.
And this is actually a holdover from 1917 when they couldn't manufacture the 1911 semi-automatic pistols fast enough for the First War.
Yeah. Okay.
So Smith & Wesson and Colt both came in and manufactured revolvers. So.
All right.
So it's nothing new, 1917.
Okay.
So as an enthusiast, we kind of take it to the next level. We're going to put 6 dummies and 6 on the belt here. Let's go ahead and take it.
4 seconds.
Yeah, 4.5.
4.5.
It's cold in here. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Oh.
Let me try that one more time.
It is about 63
I'm looking at my
degrees.
cameraman here. Let's try one more time.
Oh my gosh.
See?
It's pretty distracting.
And when you're in competition, do you go through enough all the way around your belt? How many of those can you do? You can just keep going.
I think this holds 10.
And your accuracy is obviously off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, anyway.
We have got we have to break, but I have to have you back, and we're going to go to a range, and I'm going to bring a bunch of New Yorkers that have never been around guns.
Perfect.
And let's have some fun.
Perfect.
Let's get them to, in an hour, they're not afraid of them anymore.
Yeah.
Back in just a minute. A lot of the people that work in New York for the Blaze are a little nervous today about what the media is going to say. The media is going to say what they always say. Everything we did here today was responsible. Tomorrow we're going to do the same. Tomorrow, responsible journalism. We're going to debunk all of these crazy conspiracy theories about Sandy Hook. It's important that we do it. You don't want to miss it. That's tomorrow night at 5 o'clock right here on The Blaze. From Dallas, Texas. Good night, America.